beautiful skies, the softness of the grass, the rising and setting of the golden sun, the stone-cut fort with an overwhelmingly beautiful architecture and a history that runs through the landscape. All rejuvenate life and one goes back to the daily activities of a practical world, recharged with the desire to be back again and feel the essence of being alive. You don't measure the height of a mountain until you have reached the top, because only then will you see how beautiful it is, up at the top, to see the world from above. These mountains of the Sahyadris in the Indian state of Maharashtra have a history that resounds through the landscape and beyond. For more than 500 years, stories of cannonballs fired from these forts echoed miles away over the inherent hilly terrain of the Sahyadris. These were the historical tales of the forts of Sahyadris. History is a popular subject and is closely related to all social sciences. The role of history is like a lighthouse which guides us. History books tell us the stories of heroic courage and battles fought around the mountains. About this region, Shivaji Maharaj once said, "In this region one cannot even gallop paper horses. Conquering this region is a thing far afar." No matter how strong the enemy is, a large mountain fort cannot be conquered. These forts were strategically and technically difficult for the enemy to breach. Fortified walls with the toughest bastions, strong enough to resist the impact of multiple cannonballs, yet still intact after all these years. The topmost point of a fort is the natural focal point of the landscape, by which travelers and locals orient themselves. There are nearly 350 forts spread across Maharashtra, so it is said that the forts are the glory of the state. Maharashtra was once the land of the Maratha kingdom, under the rule of Chhatrapati Shivaji Raje Bhosle. And his vision for a true Hindavi Swaraj included a lot of forts. Rajgarh was known as the king of forts, Shivaji's capital, till he shifted base to Fort Raigad. At a height of over 4,200 feet above sea level, Rajgarh offers some of the most spectacular views of the Sahyadris. This height of the fort was an advantage. With the neighbouring forts Siangad and Todna in sight, communication took place with smoke, fire and drumbeats. Rajgarh is like a ceiling fan, the motor being the Bale Killa, the topmost point on the mountain that is, and the three machis, or the terraces as the fan blades. The fort is located at the end of a spur, surrounded on three sides by fortified ridges, namely Padmavati, Suvela, and Sanjeevani Machi. With time, the stone steps, ramparts, and bastions of the fort have become ruins. The infrastructure and architecture of this fort was carefully planned under the supervision of Shivaji Raje. Double fortification of the walls once acted as a foolproof security system. The stronghold of Rajgarh is said to be its finest point and can be reached with the same effort. The diameter of the fort at the base is around 40 kilometers, making it difficult for the enemy to lay siege to it. This fort witnessed a lot of historic events during the lifetime of Shivaji Maharaj. On the other hand, Raigad, called the Gibraltar of the East, was the capital of Shivaji's Maratha Empire. This is the very heart of Maratha country. Raigad is strategically perched atop a wedge-shaped block of the hill, split off from the Western Ghats and inaccessible from three sides. Stories of incredible valor and heroic deeds are etched on every pebble at Raigad. It was here that Shivaji built his capital city in the 14th century, and here that he crowned himself Chhatrapati. For 6 years up to his death, Raigad remained the capital of the Marathas with its broad gates and magnificent monuments. The gigantic construction work was entrusted to engineers Abaji Sondev and Hiroji Indulkar. In its heyday, Raigad had more than 300 houses and structures. There is only one pathway to Raigad. Probably in keeping with Shivaji's strategy, the fort's approach should be easy for friends and impossible for foes. Prizes were offered to those who scaled the fort through unconventional methods. Though parts of Raigad are in ruins, yet they inspire an aura of grandeur. Shivaji's impregnable capital was the place where he was crowned and where he died. Besides the fort, you'll find his samadhi and the remains of his palace. For its immense beauty, Raigad remains a hiker's paradise. Most parts of the forts are in dire need of conservation. These forts were designed to withstand the longest of battles. Forts were created with stones cut out of the very mountain on which they were built. The stones were sandwiched between layers of mortar. The mortar, used for joining rocks, comprised of a mixture of lime, earth, rubble, and water. Molten alloys made with lead were used as glue to join some specific stone structures. The Maha Darwaza, the main gate of the fort, was a huge structure sealed with multiple security doors. The wooden doors were so designed so as to resist the impact of elephants and enemy troop attacks. History tells us about the burial of Afzal Khan's head in the Maha Darwaza walls of Bale Killa at Fort Rajgarh. The Bazar Pet or the marketplace at Raigad was so well designed that visitors could easily buy their groceries sitting on the saddle of their horses. The steps leading to the platform are inwardly built so that it would not create hindrances to the horses. This infrastructural masterpiece is a place for current architects to visit and study. The Bale Killa was the pinnacle point of the fort. It was like a fort within a fort. In case the enemy managed to enter the main fort, the Bale Killa remained the last point for defense. The Sadar, or the official quarter of the chief of the fort, usually the king, was a meeting place to discuss important official matters. Tukmak Tok was used as an execution point from where traitors and other punishable convicts were pushed down to death in the deep valley. The Ambar Khana was used as a storehouse for consumables. The Tatbandi, or the high stone walls of the fort, comprise of running parapets, joined and strengthened by the merlons, embattled between the wall embrasures. The enclosure of the main darbar, or the royal hall, is a masterpiece of acoustic design. Even a whisper in the main doorway could be heard at the king's throne. The main problem in case of any enemy siege of the fort would be the need of water. An entire army at the top of a mountain required thousands of gallons of water. Water cisterns were developed at various places all over the fort which served as sources of drinking water. The presence of many water tanks, enough to satisfy the needs of an entire army, shows us the planning involved in building the forts. These tanks used to hold water even during the scorching heat of the Maharashtra summers. The pollution levels around these areas reflect an attitude of negligence by both visitors and authorities alike. It requires a lifetime for the breakdown of plastic wastes. The wastes, including various types of plastic, paper, thermocol, and other non-biodegradable material, get added to the many layers of land formed due to soil erosion and other natural reasons. It also affects the animal life around the area. Unknowingly, they consume a lot of waste not meant for their bodies, thus creating health issues. The urgency of the matter is yet to be understood by all. We have to realize that pollution gives a permanent blow to the biodiversity of this region. The International Union for Conservation of Natural Resources has already declared that many plants and animals along the western Ghats of Maharashtra are endangered. This is the direct effect of human pollution. Such highly eco-insensitive practices pose serious threat to the future of various rare species of flora and fauna that dwell exclusively in this region. Many natural streams of water are getting polluted as a result. Fellow travelers should wake up to the impending peril these forts are facing. Old issues have been aggravated and new ones have emerged. Collaborative effort needs to be taken to rejuvenate civil society endeavors in the region. This would help implement strategies to preserve the nature around this area. If this doesn't happen, then the beauty of nature will soon be reduced to textbooks and encyclopedias. The authorities responsible for the maintenance of such monuments are equally responsible, as are the visitors who show disrespect to such sites. These forts in the Sahyadri ranges are part of our heritage. They need to be conserved and even restored. People do need to visit the forts to be aware of our history, but visitors need to be mindful of the spaces and not deface, litter or even damage these monuments. Only then will we have something left to show our future generations.